In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to scale your wholesaling business to 50 to 100K plus per month in 2026. This is a full-length wholesaling course completely for free, and this is the exact same process that I have used to scale my own wholesaling business to over $100,000 per month with just a 5 to 6 person team. This is not going to be one of those basics, go find deals and flip them sort of video. I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build a systematic, replicable wholesaling machine so that you can easily scale without needing a bloated 20% team or burning through 20K per month on marketing, just like our client Francisco, who made $40,000 his first month with us, or how Riley is getting leads for 10 to 15 bucks and closing multiple deals in multiple states, or Eddie, who still has a 9 to 5, he made $100,000 in just 4 months. This video will show you the exact step-by-step process that you need to follow so that you never have to watch another video on scaling your wholesaling business again. Let's get into it.
So I'm going to show you how a real estate arbitrage growth system works. There's 5 pillars to building a real business, and a lot of these things come from one of my best friends that has helped me scale. But this has my own twist to it because I believe that a wholesaling company, it's best at $100,000 to $200,000 per month because you get to net the most amount of money possible. You can still travel. You can still do whatever you want without being super risky or losing money like I have. I've lost so much money, but I've also made so much money. So I would just like for you guys to learn from my mistakes and do things the right way. Now, in order to get started with a wholesaling business, first, you need to build an inbound seller system that is giving you leads, right? And then once we get those leads, we want to convert them into appointments and then to offers. And then we want to build a replicable sales process where you can train your team on what to do, how to do it, and how for them to replace you. Because if you are only working inside your business, you're going to be so fatigued and so tired and you're going to want to quit. So you're going to learn exactly how to build that, how to systemize your dispo so that you sell deals quickly and in any market, and how to use a transaction coordinator to help offload some of those tasks from your day-to-day. And on the last pillar, now I'm going to show you how to scale based on profit, not feelings, and not like all these other people that are chasing revenue. Because in wholesaling, the only thing that matters is how much money you net at the end of each month. So with that being said, let's get started. Our businesses is going to live or die on lead flow. And usually most wholesalers think that they have a sales problem, but in reality, they have a lot of lead generation and marketing and consistency problems. So the goal here is simple. I want you guys to pick one primary marketing channel, master it, and then you need to scale based on data, on your CAC, which is the cost of acquisition, and profit, not just feelings, right? So if you know that your all-in price after expenses and everything, your cost of acquisition, call it $2,000, and you're making an average 15 to 20K per deal, you are getting a 5 to 1. Man, that's pretty good. So in order to do that, I want to break down some of the most current channels that I see people doing. Now, just because they're cheap doesn't mean that they're the best. Now, with cold calling, usually the cost is going to be low. Usually 1,000 to 3,000. That's what most people start in. The learning curve with that is low. Just basically put a bunch of numbers together in a dialer and cold call. For me, I don't like cold calling because it takes 80 to 85 leads to get a contract, and the cash conversion just takes way too long. And then the maintenance is very high because there's a ton of regulations that's coming out where it prevents you from, showing up on their phone. You're going to be shown as spam, and usually the quality of these conversations often are not that too good. So this will be like, hey, why are you calling me? What's your offer? And just a lot of chasing. Now, there's a caveat to this. The only way that I recommend doing cold calling is if you can manually, or you have a way of getting courthouse data directly from foreclosures. And if you can call them as quick as possible and you can door knock them and do everything in your power to reach them, that's going to be the best use of your time. But my view on this is it's good if you don't have a lot of money, but if you want to scale long-term, I recommend just going inbound. Now, another channel that I like, I'm not against direct mail. Usually the cost is going to be more expensive. So you'll be spending anywhere from 3 to 8 to 10 to 20K per month. And this is usually for people that are already doing 500K to $1 million plus per month. The learning curve is medium. You're usually going to use an agency to help you send the postcards and if you're doing fake checks, whatever, you're going to be able to use them. So you don't need to do a whole lot of stuff. You do need to set up the phone system so that whenever you send out a mailer, they have a number that they can call. That way you can track your conversions. Now, on average, industry standards on direct mail, on call in for every 42 calls that you get usually lends to a deal, because a lot of those are going to be like, hey, take me off your list. Why are you sending me this piece of shit? Whatever. But the ROI on that, they say it's anywhere from 6 to 9 months. For me, just that way too long. I've used it before. It worked okay. But for me, like I said, I prefer something that's quicker. Maintenance is usually very low because you send it by rounds. The thing that's going to change is the creatives that you put into direct mail. And it's going to take a few weeks before the mail gets sent out. And if you mess up in the copy or the actual mailer, you're kind of out of luck. So that's a caveat to that. Usually, like I said, response is lower. It's harder to track the lead performance on a lead by lead basis. And if you're already making money and you want to use this channel, by all means, you can do that. The other one that's very common is going to be PPC. This is a little bit more expensive. Probably going to be spending anywhere from $6,000, $12,000 plus per month. The learning curve is high, but usually a lot of people use agencies, which is fine with Google Ads. The ROI on that, I wouldn't say it's as long. It's probably 3 to 4 months, because the good thing is that the people that are filling out their information, they are actually looking for a solution like a cash buyer. So if you are good, you can contract a lot of those deals. The lead quality is often very high, but it's very competitive. That's where the big spenders are spending a lot of their money, spending 100, 200K per month, and you're competing with big national guys, right? Now, my views on PPC is the leads are good, but like I said, you need an agency and it's easy to overspend if you don't track your numbers. Now, my favorite, as you guys already know, is doing Facebook ads without an agency. So instead of relying on somebody else, you can learn how to do this yourself. That way you don't depend on an agency and having to pay $2,000 a month just to manage them for you. Because over the course of a whole year, you're spending $20,000 to $30,000 to an agency. Now with this, the learning curve can be hard if you do it alone, but it's easier with the system. Now we do help wholesalers scale by teaching them how to do inbound, how to make good hooks, creatives, all that stuff. The ROI, I would say, is quick to medium, because often the people that are reaching out, they are as high quality as a Google PPC lead, but you're getting it for 75% off. So we often get leads for $20 to $30 that are super distressed, or they got an inherited property, divorce, needs repairs, foreclosure. We get all of those all the time. And the thing with this, with the maintenance, I would say is medium to high, but it's very worth it, because once you set this up and you know exactly the ads that work, you just need to do more of those. But it's super worth it because your cost per lead is going to be cheaper than any of the other channels. And for example, for us, it takes us 20 to 25 leads to get one contract, and our average cost is $30. So our cost per closed deal is around $1,000, and we make $17,000 to $20,000 per deal. So I don't need to spend a huge amount of money. I spend around $10K per month, and we make over 100, 150K per month. And for me, that's good. We have a small team, and I know I can net 30, 40, 50, 100K in a month, and that works well for me, right? Now, the reason why I like Facebook is because you can call out specific distress like foreclosure, divorce, inheritance, their landlords, tax liens, foreclosure, whatever you call it, right? You can build your own lead gen engine instead of renting it from an agency. And this works great in local markets or nationwide. And we also crush in Spanish and Hispanic markets like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, here in my hometown, Arizona. We do a lot of deals over there. But once you have this and you can dial in your KPIs, your cost per leads, your cost per contract, you basically have like a seller ATM. If you can put $1 in, you can get 5, 6, 7, 8, $10 back for the amount of money that you spend. So a lot of our clients are spending around $2,500 and they're closing 30, 40, 50K per month, right? So I love it. It's what changed my business. So I'm a little bit biased. But once you set up your own marketing channel, then you need to have a mindset where you need to plan at least 3 to 6 months to fully dial it in, right? Now, this is real estate. It takes way longer than in other industries. So you need to be patient and you need to have the cash flow to sustain the marketing spend before the deal starts closing, right? So expect, if you do the Facebook marketing channel, you need to expect at least 30 to 60 days of testing and optimizing and learning. And you need to treat the ad spend as if it's an investment because you're going to get data and skill, right? Because we can pinpoint why an ad didn't work and what we need to do in order to optimize for it, right? But Facebook is very time sensitive, meaning if you put something out, it's very easy to get feedback because if an ad is good, you're going to be getting leads. And if it sucks, you're not going to be getting leads. You can turn it off pretty quick and launch something different. My belief with this channel is that if you can get consistent lead volume at a good cost per lead, versus around $40 to $60, and if you can improve the quality with better ads, better sales, better questions on the lead form, you're going to crush. I made a post today about how we got 6 appointments today at like $30 each, a bunch of inherited vacant properties repairs. So I think we're going to contract like 2 deals today just based off of that. Now, don't chase the cheapest leads, chase the best economics per contract. Meaning I had some clients that were paying $200 cost per lead. For me, that's super high, but he was contracting 1 out of every 7 leads. And that was still cheaper than direct mail and PPC in his market. So the main thing that matters is leads to a contract. And often if the numbers are off, it's because your sales is wrong. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to fix it in the later parts of the video. Now, how do you optimize a lead channel? Your goal is to convert to appointments, right? Once the lead came in, now you want to have an appointment. That way you can send out an offer, build a report. And that's where this whole sales process starts that actually gets you paid, right? So when you launch a channel, you want to review every single lead. You need to learn what converts. And once you learn that, you need to do more of that. What doesn't work, do less of that, obviously. And then you need to make sure that if you have lead managers or you the one are setting up the appointments or qualifying them, you have to understand 100% the seller psychology, which I will go over, and make sure that wherever you're marketing, that it's a market that you know, and you know that you can move deals, because I know that you not only wholesaling, you can do innovations in any market, and those still work very well.
By the way, if you're a wholesaler who's already doing at least 50K per month and you want some help implementing Facebook ads, building your sales teams, and scaling to 100K plus per month without wasting 150K plus on agencies just like I did, or having the wrong marketing channel just like I did, click on the first link in the description down below to book a call with me.
When it comes to appointments, you want to review every single appointment where you know exactly what happened with the motivation notes, what was going on, did we fix their issue, review the call, did we set the proper expectations, introduction, timeline, condition, next steps, all that's right. And if you dial in the sales process and you can do the objection handling, you can train your team in order to look back into the conversation and coach them into what they did wrong and how they can overcome that next time. And then your job as the owner is you can call the seller back and offer a courtesy call and be like, hey, this is so and so. I know you spoke with my guy Brian. Seems like we didn't come up with a deal. Did he treat you all right? How was that like? Okay. Do a little bit of chit chat and then ask him like, hey, I know that we didn't come with a deal. Well, what happened? And then you have a chance of contracting that deal over again, right? But you got to remember the different channels are going to create different seller personalities. For example, if you're cold calling, they're going to hate you. Why are you calling me? If it's inbound, you're going to have a high quality conversation as long as your sales process is on point. Now, how do we convert your contracts to sold deals? Well, you have to confirm that you can actually monetize the deal. They have enough equity, they have enough motivation, enough pain that we can solve for them to give us a discount on the property. And you need to look at the realistic spread, not just the best case scenario. The market sucks, so you need to account for all those things. And if the math works, you need to increase the budget on the channel. That way you start getting more deals consistently and you make more money. So you basically get more leads, you repeat the cycle, and you make more money. So when it comes to the KPIs to track for each channel, it's very important that you track it, because if you don't, you're never going to have a business. I know it sucks, but you need to do it. And if you're not doing it, you're going to stay stuck forever. You're going to lose a ton of money like me. So take it with a grain of salt. So with cold calling, you want to see exactly how many hours your cold callers are working. I don't know why I put 2 to 3. So we're going to be about 8 hours. You want to know dials made, connection rate, connections per hour, quality conversations. With direct mail, you want to know the mailer sent, response rate, how many call-ins did you get. PPC, important things are impressions, clicks, and conversions. And for everything else, with any marketing channel, the main metrics that you need to track is going to be your gross leads to your net leads. So your net lead is going to be, yep, I am the owner. I did fill out the information, right? So after that, you want to track your appointments set, then your appointments completed, offers made, contracts signed, sold deals, average deal size, cost per lead, cost per appointment, cost per contract, and cost per deal. Now, what are some of the magic metrics when it comes to from lead to net lead? If you're doing inbound, you're probably going to be between 50% to 70%. Kind of sucks a little bit right now. We are right at the 65, 70%. And out of those 65% of the leads, we want to set up an appointment with at least 70% of those. And of course, we want to complete 70% of those appointments. But of the 70% of the appointments that we complete, we want to give out an offer to at least 80% of the people. Meaning, if you did 10 appointments, you're going to give an offer to at least 8 people, because then we know that the metric is 30% from offer to contract, meaning if you give out one offer, you should be contracting one deal out of every 4 to 5 offers. If that number is wrong, now you know that you have a sales issue, and you can dissect the calls with your team where you figure out exactly what they missed. They set the expectations, all that stuff. And now you have something that you can work with in order for it not to happen again, so that you can get more deals, right? And then the other thing you want to track is the sold deals, right? That way you get your success rate, meaning if you contract 10 deals, and you close only 6, you have a 60% close rate, which is okay, but you want to be realistically at the 70, 75% mark, meaning you're contracting and selling almost everything that touches your desk, because we're accounting for room of error, which is going to happen. Is real estate. People have title issues, all that stuff, right? But then what's important is your average deal size. I would like for you guys for it to be at least 15K at the minimum. For us, we're hovering around 18 to 20K. That's really good because our cost per contract and cost per deal is very low. So I'm fine with that. But you got to figure out exactly what the cost per appointment is. So in order to do that, take your gross leads on a weekly basis and figure out exactly how many appointments you set. Now you know exactly what your cost per appointment is going to be, and also your cost per contract, right? And then you're going to know your cost per deal of accounting for the success rate. Now, how do you scale your marketing spend? I don't think you should start a second channel until you're spending at least 20K on one marketing alone, because one channel alone can take you to 6 figures a month. But I think that there's better ways to get there without having to spend a ton of money, right? But after you have this information, you'll be able to know whether you need to scale up and down based on the ROAS of the marketing invested and the cost per appointments. And also depends on what kind of business you want to have. Like I said, for me, I'm okay at the 7-figure mark, nets me what I want to make. And I only spend probably like 4 to 5 hours a week in the wholesaling business, because I have great people and they know what to do, right? Now, some rough benchmarks. If your cold calling is giving you more than a 4X, props to you, you're crushing it. You can probably spend a little bit more in that channel. If your direct mail is at least 3 or more, you can scale it. And if PPC is 3X or more, you can scale it. With Facebook, we're getting like an 8 to 10X. That's why it's my favorite. But like I said, you are in the sales and marketing business. You're not in the real estate business. Yes, what we sell is real estate, but for us, wholesaling investors, it's mainly sales and marketing. Now, in order to scale, you need to establish a targeted ROI. So for that, I have a formula here that you guys are going to get access to this. But let's say that your profit goal, revenue goal on a monthly basis, you want to make $100,000, and you know that your average deal size is $18,000, and your success rate is 70%, which is industry standard, meaning if you contract 10, 3 fall out, that means that 70% is your success rate. So you need to take that on an average quarterly and yearly. For us, we're always at the 70% more or less. Now, I do know that our leads per deal right now has increased a little bit. We're at 30 leads for a contract, but our average cost per lead is like $30. So for us to spend $7,000 to $8,000 on a monthly basis to make over $100,000, for me, that's a 14 ROI. Everyone else is getting a 3 to 4. We are crushing because I know how to do the marketing, and it was the best decision that I ever made. Learning how to do this in-house was the best decision that I could ever made. That's why I tell everyone you need to learn how to do this yourself. But once you have a plan, you can have a targeted ROI goal per channel, and that's how you can reverse engineer your numbers to make sure that you account for all those things. Now, when it comes to kind of breaking all that down here, I want to talk about industry standards on this channel. let's say that everything stays the same. I do know that the average cost per lead on Facebook is around $60. So if you stay between the industry standards at 15 to 20 leads per contract, your estimated ROI on something like this, it's still going to be pretty good. So let's say we were to change that to $60, you would get a 7x. You have to spend double, but it's still pretty good. And the cool thing with Facebook is that it always gets better the better that you get at the ads and the optimizing. So that's why it's super worth it that you learn it. Anything below like a 3x, honestly, I just recommend you do something else, because usually the more you spend, the less your ROI is going to be. And there's also diminishing returns, meaning if I spend 10K on Facebook and I go from a 14x ROI to a 12, that's still pretty good for me, right? But if it was to drop to like 8x, I would keep the same budget. Now, pillar number 2. Now we need to convert leads into appointments, right? And I have some nuggets here for you. I have our complete process map and scripts here. All you need to do is click here, and it's going to take you to kind of everything that we do, from the lead manager and the closer, all that stuff on this process. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this specific sheet because I made 2 YouTube videos going over our sales process, one with breaking down the process and the other one going into the scripts, tonality, and why it's important to actually understand the seller psychology, how to set the proper expectations, overcoming roadblocks, digging into motivation, setting up the future steps, because it's very important that you understand that seller psychology and then setting up the foundation. Because remember, the sellers who are selling us a property, it's often their most valuable asset. So they're not going to sell us something if we don't build rapport and if we don't have that communication open. So it's super important for you guys to watch this. And I put all of the scripts that we use here. That way, all you need to do is watch the video and apply the sales process. And I know even if you do that from this video, your close rate is going to go up. So all you need to do, watch those videos and put it into practice. And if you have any questions on that, just send me a DM with whatever question you have, and I'll walk you through that stuff, right? But when the lead comes in, that's not the win. The win is when we have a qualified appointment and we can actually find the real motivation in order for us to be able to give out the offer, right? Now, just so you remember, we have 3 calls and we do same side selling, meaning our closer is going to side with the homeowner against us, the big bad partners, because we're the one that set the price, not the closer. And what that's going to do, it's going to even the playing field with your seller and your closer so that they can actually come up with a number that makes sense. Yes, we're going to do sales. Yes, we're going to probably lowball them because the way the market is, but we can't lowball them unless we build that trust. And why do we lowball them? Because usually if we negotiate, we can come up higher. You know that sellers have unrealistic expectations. But if we really figure out exactly what we need to solve in order for them to sell, and we present their offer as the best solution to their problem, they're going to go with us. And especially if we're honest. So with us, we're super honest with the sellers and we tell them exactly what's going on. Excuse me. Now, part 1 of the sales process is going to be the intro script or the diagnosis script, whatever. The main goal of this script is for the lead manager or you to qualify the lead. We want to know if they're urgent to sell, meaning if we come up to a deal, Mr. Seller, are you ready to sell right now? Yes or no? All we want to hear is a yes. If it's a no, we need to put in follow-up. And the second thing that we look at when qualifying a lead is there anything going on in their life that would make them want to sell to us? Meaning, are they running away from pain or are they going towards pleasure? When I say away from pain, is there anything going on financially, emotionally, family, preventing them from achieving something, how they spend their time, all that stuff. I have a ton of that stuff in the videos. But the goal of the diagnosis is to make sure that we are spending our time with qualified people. And the goal of the second call, which is the process, the goal is for the closer to build the rapport with the seller by digging deep into the motivation, the future steps, decision makers, potential roadblocks, objections. What would they do if they sold the property? Why? How do they come up with the money that they want? All that stuff. So look at the process as a way of the closer to build that rapport and actually start doing the negotiating and earning that trust to basically talk about everything that's going on with the property and in their life. So what's important here is you need to spend the time to really dig deep into what it is that they're going through you need to spend at least an hour with these people, because if you spend less time, they're going to talk to another wholesaler, and the other wholesaler is going to listen to their problems better, and they're going to get the deal from you. So if you can spend the time and really dig deep into the motivation with them, you're going to crush it, right? Now, the acquisition person needs the sellers to be sent to them at the same point in the process, meaning the lead manager is going to set up the appointment. And once the appointment is set, the closer needs to reach out and be like, hey, I talked to so-and-so for me to call you at this time. Expect a phone call from this number. My name is and I'm going to help you through the whole process, right? And the thing with the lead managers that you need to be aware of is that the lead managers should not oversell or undersell on the phone. They're just fact finders. Yes, they're going to ask important questions, but we want most of the report to be built with the closer, okay? Now, the reason why we have a sales process, that way we have consistency where the closers begin and end any conversations, and they have an SOP of what they need to ask, how do they need to ask it, and why. That way, if that doesn't work, the sellers are not confused about what is happening, and that way the follow-up is simple and trackable. And for us as the owners and the managers of the company, it's way easier if we see that our offer to contract ratio has gone up. It's probably because we missed something in the sales process. Either we didn't set the proper expectations, the intro dug deep into the motivation, maybe we didn't address the non-committal language, and we need to find out exactly how we missed those appointments. So if you do this and you train your team on how to do it and what they did right, what they did wrong, it's only going to make you better, because you can only do so much. And that's exactly why you need more closers to build a bigger business, to make more money. Now, digging into the diagnosis script, I'm going to walk through this, pretty quick. Right now, I gave you the overview, but I am going to read through what I made, just to give you a recap. The goal of the intro call is to see if they're qualified, identify the motivation and urgency, and if they're motivated and they would sell with our terms, then that's a qualified opportunity for the closer to call them. If not, they're going to go right into the follow-up bucket, and you shouldn't give out offers to people who are not qualified. So you already have the script. I gave it to you, but like I said, it's going to build some rapport. It's going to confirm that they reached out, frame you the company as a problem solver, not a lowball investor, and it's going to set the stage for the process call with a closer to dig deeper into the motivation. Now, after doing this, we need to optimize our leads in the CRM. Now, I know that many of you are using different CRMs, but this is kind of what I see as far as the lead statuses and what's kind of like the most important, and kind of break it down how we have it. So basically, we have new leads. Anything that came in, the lead manager going to call them within 5 minutes. Then we have another bucket that's working. Maybe we talked to them, but they couldn't talk, that we are working it. So we have a working budget. We have a cold follow-up. So if we didn't get the deal or they're not ready to sell right now, this is where we put them. Warm follow-up. Maybe they expressed an interest in selling, but they have something going on in their life, and they said for us to reach out in the next 2 weeks, 1 month, or whatever, right? Hot follow-up. We know that there's motivation and urgency, but due to something in their life, they can commit to the process right now, but they know that they need to do it quick. There should be an appointment, but there's a block. So we need to kind of wait and see if we can solve it. And if not, we just need to follow up in time. So this hot follow-up is going to be very important. And also the new leads bucket is going to be super important. And then you want to have a dead lead, meaning if they are hostile or sold or wrong number or out of your area, you should put them on here. And then appointment set, we already know that they have motivation and they want to start the process within the next 30 days. So most of your time is going to be in the new leads and the appointment set and the follow-ups. So I don't know how you have your CRM, but this is how we have it, and it works pretty well for us. Now, how does the lead management workflow work? All of these are pre-appointment, right? So for us, the views that we have are new leads, working in today to 7 days, working 7 to 30 days, working 31 days plus. We have hot follow-ups, warm follow-ups, cold follow-ups, and pending appointments, meaning they didn't answer the phone call. We need to get the lead managers to re-engage with them. But the better that your system is, the easier that you're going to find gold in the bucket. That's how I like to say it. And you need to find which of these bucket is giving you the most amount of deals. And then you need to optimize for that and be sure that someone in your team is actually calling them at each of these different like pipelines, because bro, we've lost so many deals by not following up correctly or by not updating the dispo status in a proper time frame. So take it from me, pay attention to that, because I know that there's probably deals in your CRM by not tagging them correctly. Now, in terms of calling priority, the most important are going to be new leads, pending appointments, and offers, right? Which is here working, right? But we have stuff like working, warm follow-ups, hot follow-ups. Like I said, the most important are going to be the new leads and appointments who are scheduled, where the closer need to call them. And of course, that we need to give them out an offer. And we want to give out the offer as quick as we can. That the day where the appointment was set, because oftentimes you let it ride a couple of days and something happens or someone steals the deal from you. So if you have a way that you can identify where most of your deals are coming from, you're going to be able to crush. Now, when it comes to KPIs for lead management, you want to track. We used to track the calls per day, but now the main thing that we take a look at is going to be conversations and appointments set on a daily basis and weekly basis. So for us, for my company, I know that I want to make over $100,000 per month, and that's going to equal 2 appointments set at least per day. And they need to have at least 15 to 20 conversations per day. And we want to have a set rate of around 30% to 70%. And that is including new leads and follow-ups. Meaning if we talk to 15 to 20 people, we're probably going to set up an appointment with at least 50% of those people. And out of those, we want to give out an offer to at least 8. So if we give out 8 offers from those, we should be contracting 2 deals. But if you are basically in the stage where you're doing 1 to 3 deals per month and you want to scale to consistent 100K per month mark, this is the stage that usually breaks first, because you are doing too many things and you can't keep focus. But if you're able to account for that, you'll be able to have a plan for combating that. Pillar 3 is going to be into building a replicable sales process. Now, you cannot hire or scale without a clear offer call process and whole, sales process, right? Because usually when I see people that are not getting deals, it's because they don't know the sales. But if you do have a process, this is going to solve around 70% of most sales issues, and the other 30% is going to be fixed by advanced training and call reviews. So you need to do your part and train your team on that, right? So by this point, you already have an intro call, you have a process call where you kind of go over the appointment, whether it's phone or in person. And then 3, you're gonna know exactly how to do the offer script. And this section basically connects with your CRM and your KPIs. So how do you organize your opportunities in your CRM? So the opportunity status is going to be pending appointments, or that's basically going to be like no shows that need to be rebooked. Warm offer follow-up, maybe they didn't sign and you can still reach out to them within the next couple of days and see if anything changed. It's kind of the same with hot follow-up, basically likely to sign within the next 30 days. Negotiating, basically you are on their works with them, trying to make a deal happen, but something hasn't happened, or they are waiting on something, or lawyers, whatever. Dead, I already went over that. And then contract signed, that you actually got a property on the contract. Yay, congrats. Now, when it comes to dispo statuses, now you are getting contracts, you're putting them on the pipeline. Now, this is where the real work starts, because if we don't sell deals, we don't make money, right? So for us, we have pending marketing, walkthrough period, pending photos scheduled, and then property being marketed but no buyer, title issues, signed with buyer, sold deal, canceled contract. And this basically, if you have these statuses, you can hold your dispo team accountable to make sure that they are doing what they can in order to sell the deals, whether you're doing a wholesale or innovation. If stuff is not selling, then you need to price reduce or renegotiate with the seller, or, get creative to moving the deal. And if you can't sell something, just cancel the contract. There's no point in having the seller hostage if you don't think you can sell it. Now, when it comes to lists to build for the acquisition team, of course, appointment set, pending appointments, offer completed, cold follow-up, warm follow-up, hot follow-up, negotiating. And then when it comes to call priority for the closers, anyone that set an appointment, anyone that we are negotiating or giving out offers to, new inbound seller leads. If the lead managers are busy, they need to call them within 5 minutes. And then, of course, hot follow-ups, pending appointments, warm follow-ups, and cold follow-ups. Now, let's talk about acquisition, sales training. Usually most teams fail because nobody trains them. Like you think that they know, but oftentimes salespeople need to be reminded more that they need to be told. And the way that we do that, we have 3 sessions per week where we role play, we process drills, we do role plays where we set up like some scenarios, advanced scenarios, where we pretend that we are like a hostile seller, or we try to give them curb. So for us, the meeting sequences that we have on Mondays, we have a weekly team meeting where we go over last week's numbers. Did we hit the goal? Did we not hit the goal? Do we have anything in the pipeline that we can close? Anything that we can contract? And then just basically ask for feedback from the team to see what we need to focus on for that week. And then we're going to set the goal for that specific week, right? Also, the other thing that we do is we are going to hold one-on-ones with the sales team where we listen to real calls, maybe any of the calls that we didn't contract. We want to find out exactly what happened and why. So we're going to listen to those call recordings with the sales guy to make sure that we actually train him. We're going to break down any misses or anything that he did wrong. Maybe we're going to fix the tone, the pacing, and the questions asked, because it's very important that you do that, because I can guarantee that you're probably missing out on 1 or 2 deals a week by not doing this. And if you can't train the team to become better, they're going to forget. It's a skill. I'm sorry, sales is like a sport. They need to train constantly, like Michael Jordan. And if you don't hold your team accountable, you're going to fail. Now, what are the KPIs for acquisitions? For us, the main thing that we track are going to be the appointments completed and the offers sent, and of course, the contracts, because I know exactly how many offers we need to send out to get a contract. And if something's off, it's very easy for me to go in there and diagnose what happened. Did we miss the mark? What do we need to do to get better? How can I coach them to make sure that that doesn't happen ever again? So for us, our targets, 1 contract for every 4 to 5 offers. And we want to send out at least 3 offers a day. And that's getting us probably like 10 contracts a month. And if they don't answer the phone, we're going to hammer them until they answer. But with that being said, this is kind of the acquisition breakdown and the whole overview. And now let's dive deep into pillar 4, which is the dispo, selling the deals quick, and offloading the TC work to somebody else. So basically, dispo and TC, they are more so like admin / coordinating roles and the customer fulfillment. They are super important, but if you are the only one who's doing it, it's going to take you out from the generate revenue activities. So usually most wholesalers take dispo the easy route. They will take the first offer without trying to make more money. They're going to leave money on the table, and they spend a lot of time trying to fix title issues. So what you want to do is you want to work through people, not do everything yourself. There's a ton of TC services out there that you can pay by transaction. I recommend you looking into some of them. But if you do that, it's going to offload so much from your plate and actually focus on getting more revenue in the door. So the sooner that you can do that, the quicker. But you want to hold everyone accountable to the goals. If you are not using a third-party TC, then you need to train someone into what it is that you do on the dispo role and how you do it, how do you talk to title, how to send the contracts, how to request payoffs, how to ask for title commitment, all that stuff, talking to the buyers, EMD, all of those things, right? Now for the dispo, what we track are kind of like the new deals, deals on hold, pending picks, underwriting period, pending marketing, walkthrough period, buying period, buyer post inspection, closed /won or canceled, lost. And then for the TC, it's almost the same. New title issues can market, title clean, payoff requested, payoff received, setup, closing, clear to close, closer 1, memo filed if something went wrong, or if we canceled it or lost it for whatever reason. Now, another thing that's super important is going to be asset management. I talked to a bunch of you guys, and I know that you're not that good at managing money. I know that real estate, you do need a lot of money to grow it. Unlike what other people say, you actually do need to have good accounting, because if you don't have money, you can't scale the business and you can invest back into marketing or more team, right? So every 2 weeks, what we do is we look at this month's signed deals on that specific day. What do we have on the contract for that month? What's closing? Next month's, probably signed deals on people that we were waiting on. Next month's possible closings on maybe we got some offer for a deal that we have market. So we went to account for the new revenue that's going to come in the door. And the more that you do this, the better position you're going to be, right? And if you have stuff that is not selling, you need to ask yourself, can you close on any of these properties sooner? Or can acquisition look up more deals if we give out like an a higher offer and we know we can move the deal. Or if you're holding a deal or a flip, you need to ask yourself, hey, can I fire sell any of this or renegotiate with the sellers to make a more spread or just to cut back from that deal and focus on new properties, right? So you need to be able to track finance and cash flow with the acquisitions and the dispo team so that you can bring it in and hit the goal and then you know exactly what it is that you're shooting for, because I know the acquisition people want to make the money, but if you don't bring them the marketing required for them to talk to people that is going to actually make the money, they're going to hate you. So everything has to be aligned. And another section on creating future revenue. If you need help with solving title issues where you need to get creative, that's important. Or if you need to talk to a seller, maybe they change their mind, you need to be able to do that. And in the whole dispo process, keep an open communication with the sellers. That way, if you need to retrade or get an extension, you can do that. But this is going to help you move deals way quicker. You can decide whether or not you can cancel a bad deal and free up the focus, like I said earlier. Now, when it comes to maximizing your cash conversion cycle, you need to choose the right exit. For me, I love wholesale and doing novations. Some people do wholesales, flips, rentals, seller finance, novations, and flip. For me, my only suggestion is in this market, if you're not like totally sure about how quick your stuff is selling in your market, please just wholesale unless you have a ton of experience in construction and you know how to flip. Then do that as long as you have a big spread on the deal. If you're making at least 50, 60, 70K minimum, then it's okay to flip. But if not, probably most of you are going to be okay wholesaling, because remember, in the end, it's about how quick we can make the money. And I would rather get money today than more maybe, okay? Take that with a grain of salt and just ask yourself, okay, what is the best for me? What is the worst and likely outcome here? Do I need cash now? Are we adding too much complexity for the profit, meaning you have a lot of moving parts? For me, I just want to make this as simple as possible. That's why I like to wholesale, because I know how much I need to spend. I know how many contracts I need to get. I know how many deals I need to sell in order to make my 100K per month mark. And that works for me. Now, here just giving you some tips on how to work with a Dispo and TC person. So if they bring you a problem, if you have not trained them, you can ask them, hey, what do you think we should do here, right? And if the answer is good, you can tell them, okay, cool. By when do you think you can have it done? And if the answer is okay, you can suggest something like, hey, do you think X is going to help you? And then you coach on the missing part. And then if the answer is bad, ask them, how do you get to that conclusion? Find the gap and train on it. Now, what's important is that you don't solve it for them. They need to be proactive in actually trying to learn this themselves, because oftentimes we are the reason why people fail. So we need to give them the proper resources and material so that they know exactly what to do. And if you can coach them, they can solve the problem, at a later date. Now, some of the KPIs that we track for Dispo and TC, we're going to track the percentage of target profit, which is usually the actual profit divided by the targeted profit. That way we know if we are projecting okay, we want to be super close to that. And if that's off, we need to change something with the underwriting. We want to know the days from the new signed property to signed buyer, meaning lead to contract and contract to signed buyer. We want to know our success rate. We want to know our added revenue from price increases or better dispo if we got more buyers in a specific market, if you're only doing wholesale. And what's important also, if you can get access to lines of credit, that's going to be important. Oftentimes you can get in cash crunches where you don't have the money to spend in marketing, or miscellaneous things may rise up. So you want to have access to future funds, not just funds, but some credit is going to be good. And then also you want to be sure that closings happen on time, because a lot of times closing get pushed and then you are at a cash strand and you don't know what to do. So it's important to have access to these things and account for all of those. Pillar 5, now you know how to scale your business. Now you know about marketing, how to track KPIs, how to train your team, how to hire your team, how to sell those deals quicker. Now it's time to start scaling based on profit or whatever your goal is. Now, just remember, scaling is not just more chaos, more people, and just spending more money. Scaling is about systems, profit, and leadership. So take a look deep down inside you and find out how much you want to net, why, and what you need to do in order to get there. So how do we plan for our revenue per year? So what we do is we have quarterly plannings. Every quarter, we review the last quarter, what we did right, how much money we made, did we hit our goal? Is there anything that we could improve? What's the state of the market in the next couple months? For example, December tends to be slower, so we need to account for that and have a plan. What's very important is having weekly reviews where it comes to level 10 style, where you can talk anything with finance, marketing, operations, sales, fulfillment, dispo, all that. And you want to hold everyone accountable within the team and assign responsibilities to different team members to make sure that you're not the only brain in the company, right? And I said this earlier, but you need to have daily huddles with the team, whether it's the acquisition and dispo, you want to talk to them on a daily basis. That way you hold everyone accountable. And here you basically want to take a look into your master KPIs, bottlenecks, hiring needs, marketing performance, sales performance, cash position. And now, after you have this, how do you build and hire your team and when? So that you can automate a lot of things, right? Now, when should you automate marketing? Honestly, when I made this, it was kind of with an agency, but if you can learn it, I mean, it's great. But if you are making at least 20K per month and you know how to basically run the marketing, I mean, it's only going to take you 1 to 2 hours, and I think it's worth it because the results are going to be way better. But for you to hire like an admin, I think it's good once you're making like 15, 20K per month, because then you can spend 2+ hours extra by offloading stuff to the admin and for her to help you plan out your day, do any that's not required for you to do at that point, and basically just to be a right-hand man for you. Like I said, general admin is going to help with ops, simple marketing tasks, follow up. And okay, so when do you hire appointment setters? This is probably going to be your first hire, but once you're hitting 20 to 30K per month, or when you fall behind on follow-ups and new leads. So you can do a lead manager or like a setter, and then they're going to call any new leads and set up the qualified appointments for you. This is probably going to cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 as a salary, and usually pay for them, it's 3% to 5% of net profit. If they hit the goal, they're probably making 5, 6, 7K per month, depending. And then we find a lot of our lead managers from South America, where they still get paid pretty well, and they're in the top 1%, making 3, 4, 5, 6K a month. And you can make a huge difference to them, and they have really good talent. When should you automate the dispo? Once you're hitting 30 to 50K per month, or when you have more than 4 deals in escrow at all times. And then usually you can probably combine dispo and TC, or you can do dispo in-house and then like a third-party TC person, but offload that to the dispo person. Maybe it can be you, and maybe you hire an acquisition manager. But I recommend hiring acquisition managers once you're hitting 50K a month consistently, or anywhere from 30 to 50K per month on your own, or if you are cherry picking appointments, because if you're not spending the time to go into the appointments or call every seller, I know that you're going to miss out on opportunities. And if you are honest with yourself and you know that you can't give your best offer to everyone, then it's time to pay a little bit more money to hire them. They're going to cost you probably $1,500 to $2,000 a month in salary. And usually it'll be anywhere from 8% to 12% of net profit per deal. And it usually goes up the more that they close, because you want to incentivize them to keep on closing deals. And this is a position where they can make 6 figures. So like I said, with any team member that you bring, you're going to be able to train them and actually coach them to become better. Now, when it comes to my hiring beliefs, you need to hire on values and attitude. You need to set up your core values of what's important to you and how you do business. Usually a tip is customer service are often better than experienced real estate people, because you can teach them the sales process, the scripts, and you can't teach them work ethic, honesty, and the care for the seller.
So look, the information in this free course genuinely has the power to completely change the growth of your business for the better. So I hope that you went through all of this and you got to the end with a bunch of notes and got some value from it. At this point, you basically have two options. You can try and implement all of this on your own, spending the time, money, headache, and resources, figuring all of this out on your own, step by step, and you will face 100% of the things that I mentioned in this guide. And if you do it wrong the first time, you're gonna be wasting a ton of money on the wrong marketing channels, hiring the wrong team members who can't close, or you may be getting stuck in the hustler mentality, unable to delegate, or you can get help from an expert who has closed more than 200 wholesale deals and has scaled to over $150,000 per month with this exact playbook. And he has solved all the problems that you will inevitably face, so you can just get this right the first time. And if we're being honest, if you are not making at least 50K per month, then you 100% need help. This is why I want you to click on the first link in the description down below, book a call with me to see if I can help you scale. This is for you if you want to avoid figuring all of this out yourself and you want me to help you implement Facebook ads, building sales systems, and scale your team so you can hit 50 to 100K plus per month without the guesswork. And this is the exact same system that has helped Riley, Francisco, George, Jordan, Riley, Ryan, all of them make over $50,000 per month. So if you want similar results, click on the link down below, book a call, and I'll speak to you soon. Make sure you like this video so you can easily find it. Again, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Facebook ads, for wholesaling, systematic sales processes, and building a lean, profitable operations. And with that being said, I'll see you again soon.